open the Finance Committee meeting at 5:06 PM for February 3rd, 2025. So review of minutes. Oh, I'm going to say one thing first. I hosed up the email the day after we had the meeting. I emailed everybody except I typed the wrong thing in, so you didn't actually get the email. But when we voted South County Senior Center last week, it did indeed pass. The rule is that it is the majority of members who are present and voting. If somebody abstains, they are not voting. So the vote was 2 in favor, 1 against, 1 abstained, so 2-1 passes. It's the majority. So it doesn't have to be a majority of the people present. It's a majority of the people present and voting.
We have to have a quorum present. We did.
Yeah, we did. So we had 4 people, but you're right. You can have a quorum. You have to have a quorum present. They don't have to vote. So even though one of them, we didn't lose our quorum by somebody abstaining.
I did send out a corrected minutes. Did everybody
Yeah.
get that? Okay. In which case, I move that we accept the minutes for the 27th.
I think it was the 27th, January 27th. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Against, abstaining. All right, that passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0-1. Anything else we need to cover before we get into our safety? I guess the other point is that tonight there's a planning board meeting at 6:30 right here, so we will finish by 6:15, 6:20, something like that, because we will be kicked out at that point. So with that, which one? Where do we want to start?
We'll start with the sewer budget. So if you go to your tab 10. So the first page you have in tab 10 is just a quick summary showing what revenues we need to have in order to cover the budget that's currently being presented. And I'm just right now just showing 100,000 coming from retained earnings. I believe our retained earnings were certified at $1,299,000, something like that. I just wasn't sure that we should use any more than that, especially since the increase didn't seem to be huge. So I'll leave it to all of you to make that decision in the end, but I think this looks pretty good.
Okay.
So if you want to go to payroll, which is the very next page.
So I actually didn't end up with a new sewer enterprise fund summary page. So my old one.
I gave you 2 things, right?
No, this is from Julie.
It doesn't matter. We can look at the other ones. They all add up. So
Yeah, it didn't change
Never mind.
by much.
it's okay. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. Sewer payroll.
Okay. So, so sewer payroll, it comes to $483,382. If somebody would like to make a motion, then I can talk about it.
I'll make a motion for sewer payroll. Pass 380.
Second. Okay, ready for discussion?
Yes.
This will obviously change between now and town meeting because we need to hire a DPW superintendent. I understand interviews might be held towards the end of the week. But the top line there where it says superintendent, that has always been 1/6 of the superintendent's gross pay. And that just carries over from the highway payroll. So that number will probably change between now and the end of this budget season. Eric has signed a new contract for his payroll, so we've plugged in that information. He has put in a request to the Personnel Board for, and Christopher, you can correct me if there's anything that needs to be corrected, but he's put in a request to the Personnel Board to have a new position for Assistant Chief Operator. That has not been totally approved at this point. They're waiting for a job description, right?
They have it. They have it now. Yes.
Okay, so they will meet again on their next meeting and make a decision, but I plugged it into the budget because I would assume it's going to be approved. We can always make that change, but right now, we've plugged in an Assistant Chief Operator position. Eric has told me who he was going to be selecting for that, and Gary Benoit is retiring he's leaving us in March, and Eric is already is filling his position to start when he physically leaves, like towards the end of February.
Yes.
Yeah. So all of those employees are updated in this budget, assuming a couple of things like the Personnel Board making the final decision on. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. For what if you have questions?
Did you base this proportion of the superintendent's salary on the existing full
Yeah.
salary?
The formula has been the same since before I came on board.
Okay.
1/6 of the DPW superintendent's salary has always been applied to the wastewater treatment plant. I don't know if that needs to change.
So this is assuming a total salary of $108,804.
Yeah, it's that. So the highway salaries have not been
Okay.
worked on at all because they are just now starting contract negotiations for the union. I did do a couple of little things today. I left it in there as if Kevin Scarborough were still here, just to have a number that was high, hoping that it might be a little bit lower, but
So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
You're anticipating it to be lower than this number, or?
who knows? I don't know what the final decision will be, what somebody will get hired at.
Yeah.
But I just
have,
thought if I had it a little higher to start with, then we can always come down. It's easier to come down.
well, where the chief operator salary is at $129,439, it seems as though there's going to be a big increase or overall increase in the highway superintendent's salary, because I wouldn't imagine that the highway superintendent is going to be paid less than his chief wastewater treatment plant operator.
Well, it has.
It is a quite different job, but the superintendent is assumed here to be doing administration for the wastewater treatment plant, right? What's the superintendent get paid for?
Not really. Eric, oh, go ahead. You talk, Eric.
Sorry.
I'm doing all the
Can you,
talking.
make sure you're talking into the
Here, you need to
microphone
speak into a microphone.
so that the
close.
people
Thank
and the
you.
recording can work.
As far as the administration, Eric takes care of as far as his, what I call deal. The highway department, DPW, takes care of the collection system. All the piping, all the manholes, everything, all the collection system from the houses that go to Eric. So in the last couple of years, we've had Eric take care of his own budget, pretty much. We've overseen it, but that's what we've been doing for the last. And
All right.
I mean, that $16,000 or $18,000 has been historically the same since 3 years.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think the superintendent's job, I'm just,
It-
I think the superintendent's job is a big job.
Understood,
So
understood.
that's my point. It's
the-
not just wastewater, it's everything
Right,
else.
understood, but I don't have the licenses
Right.
at this time.
Oh, okay.
So that's, that's a.
All
But I
right. We
definitely-
support,
Right, okay.
Can you, go ahead. Grab the microphone.
Assistant Chief Operator, the increase is 15.5%, which is,
So that is the new position. So right now, that individual is being paid under a grade D, step 2, but he would, if this is approved, would move up to a E, step 1.
He's gonna
As the
come in
assistant
as
chief.
a class 3 or class 4, Eric, correct?
He's gonna be step 1, but yes, he's gonna be grade E, and, he's right in line with the rest of the assistants that are in town, along, like the collectors, all that, so it's right in the same ballpark. That's why we started him at that. It's a creative position, that's the only reason it went up so much, because right now he's just an operator. But we need him in his license for our permit and for DEP paperwork and such, so.
Can you spend a little bit of time explaining what the new position is like compared to the old position? What the additional responsibilities are?
There wasn't really an old position, like this is a new position.
Well, he was
Yeah.
just a plain
Just
old
an
operator.
operator.
So the difference between a plain old operator and
Gary was my assistant in name only, like the Josh can actually do all the paperwork. I've trained him to do the paperwork. If I'm not there, he can make process decisions, no problem. It's basically everything I can do, in my absence. So if I drop off the face of the earth, he's right
We
there
still
to
have
pick up.
somebody who
Yes, you
has-
guys aren't left in
And
the
so does
dark.
he have the same level of licensing and everything? Or is
I
he
have a
working
grade
towards
6
that?
license,
Uh-huh.
but he has to, our plant is a grade 4. So the assistant chief operator can be either equal or one below. Right now, he passed, I think it was 4 months ago, he passed his grade 4 exam. So he's in training right now, grade 4. He's just waiting for his time in. So his time in will be up July of 26. But in training, he's allowed to be assistant chief operator. I checked with DEP just to make sure everything was good to go with that, with losing Gary, because Gary has his grade 3. So they said we're all good to go with that. I just would like, the biggest reason I did this is I'd like some kind of career path for these younger kids. I don't want them to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, these jobs are hard to get people in. And, you know, if they see that there's some kind of career path up and through, when I'm gone, if I'm setting it up, that you guys will be good for the next 20, 30 years. So
Yeah.
that's the reason behind it.
Go ahead.
And didn't I understand from your presentation at the Personnel Committee that there's also some kind of a requirement to have this position that we haven't had and haven't been operating with?
Well, we've had it, but Gary was in name only, like he wasn't doing paperwork and stuff like that. I want to make, like, there is a requirement through our permit that we have a chief operator who's equal to or greater than the level of the plant, which was grade 4. And then your assistant could be one below. So he could actually be a grade 3, but he's already put into work and took his grade 4 license and such. So he's, and passed it. So we're just trying to make it incentivized where he wants to stay here and want to be with the town of Deerfield, which they do, but shows a little bit of appreciation and for the job that they got to do whenever I'm not here and everything else. So.
And then just one more comment. Looks like there's quite an anticipated savings in overtime for next year. Is that because of better
Right.
scheduling procedures? or-
So overtime used to be calculated based on Eric's pay. And with the new contract, he has agreed to be exempt. So we've now changed the overtime rate to be on Josh's rate instead. So big difference.
So are the number of hours similar?
Same hours.
Same hours. Okay.
Yeah, because these are the hours that are required on the weekends.
Oh,
When,
okay.
and the holiday time is down here, but
24/7, it's 365.
yeah.
So then the follow-on question would be,
Go ahead.
so then the follow-on to that is why does the holiday coverage and emergency service coverage jump so much?
based on Eric's calculations, it appears that we've just been under budgeting those two line items.
Okay, so it's just correcting.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And same with like highway payroll and highway OT payroll, those are just recalculating.
So there is one highway employee who's dedicated to the collection system. And
Okay.
so he spends 2 hours of overtime every week or
Every
every,
week. Yep, every week.
every week. On checking the sewer lines.
The
and-
collection system.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, so I went back through and just looked at a 3-year history of what was spent, and I thought, now that the sewer plant is totally staffed like it should be, I figured there would be less time for the highway regular people to be there for any particular reason, because he's got a whole staff that does that. And we haven't been using the highway as much, so I just adjusted those numbers to what was being reflected in the last 3 years of actuals.
So for the 4.25% increase, what we've done is everybody gets their step and we've promoted somebody from whatever, a certified operator to an assistant. But offset that with adjustments to overtime and whatever. Is that kind of the summary? for you?
Yep.
Okay.
Do, do the health insurance benefits take into account the large increases that you're now seeing?
Yes.
Okay.
It should. We don't know what the new employee will take, but we just kind of figured probably a single plan. We don't know, but it does give us a little buffer for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not sure if they're gonna take it or not, but
it should still be just fine. If it,
If they do, you have it.
two of my guys don't take it. They're still under their parents' insurance.
Uh-huh.
we knew that, and he doesn't take it.
And I don't take it because I go through the VA, I get all my stuff through the VA.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, so we're gonna have like one guy.
So most of,
Anybody
Most-
turning 27 this year? Don't answer that.
so most of the health insurance cost right here, right now, is for retirees, because we do charge the wastewater treatment plant for the insurance that's taken by the gentlemen that used to work here that are retired, and their spouses.
Is that because they're not Medicare eligible?
No, it has nothing to do with it. It's just that they used to work for the wastewater treatment plant, so the wastewater treatment plant should pay for their health insurance.
Until they deceased?
Yeah, most of them are on Medicare.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
there's,
there still a cost to the town for even if they're on Medicare?
well, yes, we pay 50%. So
Okay.
that 50% would be in this number.
Any further questions or discussion?
Yeah. With the Medicare, wouldn't we be paying for the supplement insurance and Medicare's the primary?
That's correct.
So we're not paying for Medicare
We're paying for MedX, which is the supplemental. Correct.
and you're paying 50% of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like we would with any retiree, we're paying 50% of the insurance, no matter what they have.
Are they kicking in anything? The
50%.
50%. They're doing 50, we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Christopher, did you have anything to add to that? No. Okay. Just wanted to make
Okay.
sure. All right.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded for sewer payroll at 483,382. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor? That's unanimous 600. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve. You've already given your preamble, we might come back to this later.
Oh, no, we haven't, but,
Want to do that?
I guess, sure. So this one actually doesn't really fall into that because it's the enterprise fund, yeah.
I make a motion to approve sewer payroll, wastewater treatment plants salary at $483,382. Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Daniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye. Tim
All right.
Okay,
So we might go back and revisit this after the highway
correct.
person
I would
is
think we
fully
would,
hired.
yes.
Okay. All righty.
So on the sewer expense, which is the next page,
Mhm.
we've got a total of $881,500.
Yeah, let's
I
have a
move
motion.
to recommend the sum of $881,500 for wastewater treatment plant sewer expense.
We have a second?
So with this one, we'll see a final on this one as well, because I don't have all the budgets to calculate the indirect costs yet. So that one will change as well, probably not by much, but I'll let Eric speak to the individual line items if there's anything you want to point out or if you want to wait for questions.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. We didn't really go up on a whole lot. What we did go up on, we kind of made up on some other ones. Our lab fees and assessments went up. Simple fact is they require PFAS testing now. In last year's budget, we did not have a number for that, and it's quite a bit more than we thought it was going to be. But the chemical budget came down. That's from going to UV at the South Deerfield plant and getting that online and getting rid of chlorine over there. So that helped out. And then the only other one we brought up was the sewer sludge. We got hit pretty hard, had a lot of loads go out in November, December. So we just figured we'd put a little padding in there just so we make sure we had enough to cover it, so we're not trying to scrape by or try to move something into that later on.
So has the cost of disposing of that sludge gone way up?
Every single year, they bump up a little, bump up a little, bump up a little, so it ends up, it's crazy. We're looking at some other avenues, some other haulers that may save us a little bit of money, not like a ton, but every little bit helps, so.
And you're shipping to where now?
We only ship to Lowell.
Yeah.
And with a couple of the new haulers, there's some other options, which helps us out because when Lowell, something happens down there, we're stuck. We have to sit there and wait till they open back up before we can get sludge loads out, and that affects our plant and the quality of what we put into the river. So we, the new places, they have more options, Upper Blackstone, with Worcester area, down in Cranston, Rhode Island. They have a plant that they take to up in New Hampshire. Right now, they're kind of going through the process of getting approvals for us for emergency loads and stuff like that, so we can go into those other places if we have downtime with where we go now. So, and like I said, they're a little bit cheaper. So maybe moving forward, and I've already talked to Jan at Franklin County Solid Waste District, and she is speaking with them for the next bid cycle for sludge haulers. So it would help us out a lot. So.
You get involved in the FERCog, you're kind of bound to FERCog and their bid people. And a lot of times they don't step up and don't take care of what our needs are. So sometimes we have to outsource to other places. So
Oh, it's
Jan
good you're
knows
working
this.
with Jan at the
Yes.
Solid Waste
And she
District.
knows this.
Yeah, she,
So
She understands. The Greenfield does it. They have Noonan comes and pulls loads out of them sometimes and takes them to other places. Like the Wall trucking had some problems a week ago. If they couldn't have got to me, Jan said that she was going to give me the number to Noonan and the other haulers, even though they're outside the contract. But if you read the contract, it pretty much says as long as you're not like pulling all your stuff away from FERCog and wall trucking, they can't really say anything to you. They're okay with it. So, you know, we have these extra loads, our plant gets hit really hard. Another hauler would be able to help us out a little bit for maybe a little less money. So
You accept private septage at your, plant?
not right at this moment.
Okay.
Um,
I know there are haulers that are bringing it to Turner's and other
there's not a whole
places.
lot of places that take it anymore, so everybody has to, I mean, Montague's one of the only places I believe around here that takes it. Some of the towns take their own. I'd love to look into in the future, you know, figuring out something where we could take it, just our towns at least, to help the residents out, so.
That would be pretty popular
It would.
amongst,
Well, we have some
amongst the
ideas, we
septic
just
folk.
gotta figure out how to implement them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead, John.
I have two questions. The audit, you don't have anything in there for that?
That's right. So, we've had to do a single audit for the federals, for the feds, because of federal money. But we've received our federal money for the wastewater treatment plant. So the only, let's see, the only federal money we're going to be getting now is, for the Leary lot. So I took the expense out of their budget because it's no longer their problem. Yep.
And the operational reserve, do we actually spend that?
That's required by USDA so that we keep putting more money into our retained earnings.
Oh, so they want it to go into retained earnings.
That's right.
That was part.
So is there a goal for the value of the retained earnings? Is that going up, or are we able to spend it each year?
It's been hovering around $1.3 million. $1.3 million. I want to say, this year it was $1,299,000, right? I think it was. Yeah. They'd like us to have a year's worth of operating expenses in there. So just trying to make sure we're covered.
Is that what we have?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Because if I may, the use of retained earnings went down $20,000. I'm looking at the users. The more retained earnings we use, the less the sewer bills will be. How many users are there approximately?
It's 900 and some, right?
Just
I don't-
around 1,000.
Is it around 1,000 now?
Are you on this group? Are you on this group?
Any of us have-
So this is reflecting a 2% increase. I figured that was pretty reasonable
On a typical bill?
on the revenues, right?
Okay. That's good.
I thought that was, I thought that would, people aren't going to complain about a 2% increase in their bill versus the 10% we've been doing.
Go ahead, Dave.
Brenda, I apologize if I zoned out at the beginning of the meeting or missed something, but on this sewer enterprise fund, the first page you gave us tonight,
Mhm.
the number for expenses is 807,000, and here we have 881,000.
That's
What-
because we have to account for the indirect costs on a separate line when it comes to voting this at town meeting. So this really, the main reason I do this summary page is so that I have the right numbers for town meeting. So the 73,700 in indirect costs, if you add that to the 807,800, it equals the 881, whatever it is. Yeah.
Where are the indirect costs? Oh, the 73.7, sorry.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yep. So it's those two numbers together.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
How's the new truck working for plowing?
It's
boy.
great. Yeah, it's working excellent.
Excellent.
As as all the other.
Because I don't
projects.
have to do it. now.
Yeah, you don't have to do it, so.
You've gotten some practice lately.
Made for a very early morning this morning for him.
I bet. yeah.
But still, nothing with these guys. They've been up all night, so.
That's true.
So is this another one of these things that's an enterprise fund? We're okay because it's in their budget? Or is this something we can,
What's that?
the sewer expense thing, it's inside an enterprise fund. We really don't have any issues with it. I mean,
So we still voted. I
Yeah.
mean, we review it and vote it, but
And we'll probably revisit it just because the indirects will change.
and the gasoline expense is because gas is higher now, or because you're burning more because you have a higher powered engine in a new truck, or?
Yeah, and plowing. Plowing does a lot of it.
Yep.
You
Is it
can
just-
watch it just go down
Mhm.
plowing, so.
And the engineering consulting stuff, is that something that you just always have some need for an engineer?
Yes, they always, like they do our collection system report every year. They do our iodine or nitrogen reports. Those are all permit required.
Mhm.
And anything else we may need them to do, like they do a lot of work with the budgeting for the town and that, it gets billed out of that for the budgeting for the sewer department and such. So,
Mhm.
And we have that grant
Right.
that will be covered through this budget as well. The costs that we're supposed to, provide.
A match, is it a match?
Yeah, so we're all, so that's all in there.
Mhm. So the DPC trucks that we see around are doing this work now and under a grant?
May I? So it's actually give or take a couple of thousand, 60,000 retained earnings is being used to offset the revenues. Because you've got 100,000 on the
Oh, I
overall budget and you get 40,000 as an expense, right?
I
So
guess you could look at it that way.
crazy. No, not you. Yeah.
Under the world of enterprise fund.
so what's the grant?
Go ahead. You want to speak to it?
It's for our asset management plan for studying the collection system. We got a grant from the DEP for stormwater and for sewer collections. So looking at all the manholes and piping, we did it back in 2017 and we got a grant this year to pay for it, which was great. A couple $100,000 from DEP for both wastewater and sewer. It won't cover the whole system, like Old Deerfield we'll still have to look at. We may apply for a grant again next year if we can for that, but we'll get a good part of it done.
Any other questions? We want to talk about that pipe that was failing and
No.
okay. That'll, I mean, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that during, capital.
Yep.
Is there, do you guys want to talk about that at all? Not really? Okay. That's fine. That's not under this budget anyway, so we're straying far afield. Any other further questions on this budget that we have in front of us? No. All right. So it's been moved and seconded for wastewater treatment plant expense at 881,500. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous, 500. Beth is,
Recuse.
yeah, not
Oh, she's
present
in the rec
still,
meeting, right?
because she had
Oh,
to go to the rec meeting. She had to leave. She'll be back, but
All right, so that leaves us with the sewer debt.
I'm just gonna
Oh,
do one
that's
quick
right,
vote.
sorry.
So I'll make a motion to approve the sewer expense, wastewater treatment plant expense at $881,500.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Thank you, sorry.
Great. Yeah, no, I apologize for forgetting. So if you move to the sewer debt service, this is all now set. There's no short-term borrowings. So we have two USDA loans And we have our final bond that we took out in November. So these numbers will not change.
So is this, are we gonna have the same exact dollar value every year, or is this value gonna?
It'll change.
Okay.
Yep, it's the principal.
Pay the same principal every
principal
year, and
amount
then
will
the
be-
interest will drop?
Well, and
Is that-
actually, you know what? With the bond that we took out in November, we did not have it in our budget to pay 6 months worth of interest. So there's going to be 18 months worth of interest in next year's budget. So these numbers will all go down for fiscal '27 unless we have to
Nice.
take out more debt for anything else.
It's the pipe.
Okay.
So, just for clarity, this, the debt service is the portion of this budget that all Deerfield taxpayers pay on, correct?
That's right. This is the 75%.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
That-
thank you for mentioning that.
We need a motion. Anybody like to make a
Oh.
motion?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that.
I move to recommend the sum of $819,822 for wastewater treatment plant sewer debt service for FY '26.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion now that we have a motion?
All done.
We're all set? Any questions? Anybody? No? All those in favor? That's unanimous, 500.
Correct.
Of the total debt.
Yep,
service.
75% of the total debt service is in this budget. The other 25% you'll see when we go through those budgets on the 18th.
I'll make a motion for the select board for, to approve the sewer debt service at $819,822.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
So I think we're done with Eric unless you had any other questions for him.
But then don't we need to vote the overall sewer enterprise fund, because otherwise we haven't voted the use of retained earnings?
Oh, good point. Yep, thank you.
Pardon?
All right, would you like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the sewer enterprise fund total. Expenses totaling $2,084,704. Revenue of $2,084,704.
Revenue of $2,084,704 plus retained earning usage of
Of 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I was, okay. Oh,
So
yeah, you're right.
expenses would be
Sorry.
21,84,704.
Correct. Yes.
I'll second with that change.
Any discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Make a motion for the select board to approve the sewer enterprise fund in total.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chill out for a little bit.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll take your seat. Yeah.
Are you up next?
Okay. So we'll go to his first budget, which is the town building maintenance budget, which is 196. It's in your tab 196-5400.
Don't,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
192. Oh, okay, there we go. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. 196 is insurance. Yeah, which we don't have yet. Okay.
All righty, do we have a motion?
I'll move to recommend the sum of $125,184 for town building maintenance account 192-5400.
Second.
There you go. All right. Discussion?
Oh, I missed,
Yeah.
missed what you just said.
So they just motioned it to get it on the table.
Okay.
The biggest thing is the EV chargers.
Right.
And until we know, if we should be setting up a revolving fund for that, right now it's just sitting here because the revenues go into the general fund.
And we got a bill of $1,600 last month, so.
And for everything, though, for electricity and units and.
No, that's
Just
just,
the EV
just the EV chargers.
So where are we at with that? I know that was a big topic of conversation the last budget cycle.
So I have not seen, the only revenues I saw were in December because Sarah is just now reconciling bank statements. So I don't know what we've received for January. But Greg, our assistant town administrator is handling this and he's keeping track. And he said that right now we're doing very well. We're covering it.
We are, okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
So I trust that he'll manage it. He'll watch it. And if we need to make some adjustments, we will.
Yeah, I just wish we had 8 level 3s instead of 4, because the electricity expense from Eversource was about $800 in January, and the overall revenue was 13 something, so there's like a 500 plus difference into the good side.
Well, the only caveat to that is our electric.
Right.
Well, our electric bill covers mid-month. So I don't know what revenues are coming from what month of expenses, but yeah.
So I actually asked Greg to look into trying to get Eversource to bill first of the month or the last of the month rather than in the middle of the month, because it's just too darn confusing.
I don't know that they'll ever change.
Could somebody just explain what this is, this 1864 for next year, though? Is that new chargers being purchased and installed?
No,
No, they
that's
already
just
is.
the electricity.
That's just the electricity for them. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem.
So why is there nothing in previous years?
Because we just put them in. They just came to the Leary lot.
So this is just for the Leary lot?
Yep.
Well, this
Well-
would be the cost of all of them at Town
That's-
Hall and the Leary lot, but the most expensive ones are the level 3s, which are in the Leary lot.
Okay.
We may have to change the rates. Possibility. Going forward.
Go ahead, Jim. Snag a microphone.
Jim?
This doesn't include the revenues, or that would be on the town revenues or whatever.
Right.
Because, I mean, Greg was, when I was trading emails with him, but I forwarded everybody those, right? Didn't I? I thought maybe I just forwarded
I
it to you by
think you
mistake.
sent it to me. Do you want to
Alright.
recap?
Yeah, sorry, I thought I had sent it to everybody. Yes, I traded emails with Greg about this because I was confused about it too. And he sent me an email, response explaining that basically, yeah, we own the chargers. The company, which I cannot remember the name of, operates them, maintains them. We're paying for the electricity, we're getting revenues. There is a setup cost, which is why the amount we have been getting from it has only, started out very low, but has been increasing even though people have been using them, because they basically are deducting their setup costs until that's paid off. And he was saying that within probably a few months, that ought to be, amortized, I guess.
If we own the charges, where is the cost of the charges in the budget?
They were paid for through grants and various other places.
And I think we're seeing some of it in not revenues that we're getting. In revenues that we're not getting, I think, is some of those costs. Because the subcontractor or contractor, or whatever you want to call them, that's operating them and doing maintenance and handles the billing and, financial transactions, when people stick
Oh,
their
so
card
all the
in.
money goes to them.
Right.
They
Correct.
subtract their expenses and
Right.
forward the rest
Yep.
onto us, and the rest that we're getting is covering
That's what
the
I understand.
electricity.
That's what what I understood from Greg, I don't know if Christopher knows anything any more than I do, but
No, that matches my understanding as well.
So you mentioned revolving funds, and I understand that this is not, it may not be as simple as, revenues and expenses. But has there been serious thought given to establishing a revolving fund for this? And
so it's been on our mind that it would fit a 53E and a half revolving fund, because you've got charges and then you've got expenses against those charges. The question is, will the revenues support all of the expenditures? I don't know. So I've put in a call to Tom Scanlon for some information, just haven't been able to connect with him.
I think the benefit, there is a downside to that, obviously, with the changing electric rates that we're all dealing with. But, the plus side to that is that the revenues would be more transparent. Not that they're not transparent now, they're just general fund revenues, but they would be more transparent in that they would be targeted or earmarked directly for the revolving funds. So it would be easier for us to see.
I agree. And I don't like where I'm putting them. I'm just putting them into miscellaneous revenues, because up to this point, it's just been miscellaneous revenue. I mean, what we've received on the level 2 charges has been so minimal that it would never cover the costs up to this point. So
I feel like, by the time we get to next year, we'll have a year's worth of usage. We'll know what we're getting for revenues, everything will be paid for, and I agree, it's probably worth having it so that residents or anybody looking at our books can go, okay, we've got, because that's always the question, oh, you've got these chargers, but are they paying for themselves, or how much are we
Can
subsidizing?
I go to the highway department to fill my tank with gas? We've seen that.
Yeah. I think it is, that seems like the right, source, depending on if that covered all.
I also believe that I think the level 3 chargers are under a 5-year warranty agreement. Is that right, Christopher?
Yeah, that's correct. They actually both the level 3 and the level 2.
The new charge points that are in the Leary lot as well. So
So are we using any of the income from the solar project to offset this?
income from the solar project.
Don't we have income from solar?
was it set right, or was it the one up on River Road? River Road, we get some sort of credits.
Yeah.
And when Chris Nolan was here, the credits were offsetting expenses.
Correct. Yeah, sorry. Just wasn't making the connection. Yes, it's on our Schedule Z. So Diane and Greg have been reviewing that. We can change it every 6 months. So she's been trying to keep that in line so that we're not getting too many credits on any one bill, but we've got a list of accounts. So
And it does include these chargers
yes.
or not?
What's that?
And it includes these chargers are getting
Correct.
offset by that
Yes.
somewhat? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want clarity on this because I do believe that the level 3 chargers are going to change the way we have regular users now. 60, some of them are in Deerfield. There's an obvious benefit to Deerfield residents not having to drive to Amherst and Northampton and Hadley to, charge up their car fast. So it would really, I'm in favor of a revolving fund so we can figure out what is this actually generating or costing the town.
And it might be that if we do set up the revolving fund, we wait for the revenues to come in and then we just offset the revenues by whatever expense we can. I do that with some other things.
Go ahead, Jim.
Brenda, can you tell me where on the revenue detail the charger income would show up?
It's just under miscellaneous. And I can't necessarily, I didn't know what to put in for that. So I really don't have anything in there for fiscal 25 and fiscal 26. I haven't really accounted for anything either. So
Would that be miscellaneous non-recurring or?
correct. Like I said, that's not the place that I think it should belong. So what's that? Well drilling. Yeah.
Yes, and any other, any other questions on the chargers?
That is most of the increases from that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Chris, do you want to say anything about any others?
As far as like the St. James building, it was a 2,800, we put down to 1,800. Hopefully that's gonna be taken over by whoever,
Somebody else.
right? EMS building pretty much stays the same, 1,888. Hopefully that's gonna be taken care of very soon too, so we knocked that down to 1,000. I mean, we probably have a few little expenses. 1,821, the library right now. We bumped that up a little bit because of a little bit more electricity and fuel, and not quite sure when they're gonna get out of there, so that was the reason for that.
When they might get out, just wondering, like, because that might go up a bit if we start using it more and it's not getting billed to the library. No.
I believe that they're looking at substantial completion on the library in May.
Right.
And then afterwards, there's a period of time when they do their punch list and then they have a move-in day, I believe, June or July.
Right, I think that's what
Yes.
Candace is
What?
planning on. Yeah.
Yeah, so by the time we get to July,
Yeah, right.
Senior Center can move in.
right?
That's my memory too, yeah, substantial completion in May is, so this covers, it says maintenance, but it covers stuff like electricity and,
Correct.
okay.
Yes. Well, not for the 1821 building right now, because electricity, all the occupational expenses are covered by the library.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would be any repairs. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the pest control.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Forward though, going forward after July of next year, when this budget takes effect, it wouldn't be covered by the library anymore, right?
Right,
Right, and
right.
I mean, what's going in there? What
We
is
don't
gonna,
know yet. Yeah,
so that's a question.
A lot of unknowns.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And this all assumes that any actual maintenance on these buildings is what, done by your folks?
Possible, you know. I mean,
contracted
yeah,
by your
so, I mean,
folks, or-
the amount that's here, it's small repairs.
Yeah.
Okay, you know,
Okay.
I'm talking.
Why is the cost of maintenance software cut in half? More than cut in half?
I think that needs to change.
Which one's that now?
The maintenance software. Remember the deal with the software that came up this week?
Yeah, we put it up in the other part, though. I think we did some,
So just as a FYI, they had maintenance software through
on
Cartographic.
well, you cartograph, right? But,
And the only people that accessed the system were Kevin and Chuck Willer, and both of them are gone. So nobody was using the system and didn't know that we were still paying for it, that it was under a contract. So here we are.
Right.
And so they're learning. Right.
Right, and we're gonna put that into the general highway. That's what we're gonna be putting in.
Well, it's a large cost. So it used to always be split between town building maintenance, the wastewater treatment plant, and the highway garage.
Yeah, we did put it together how we were gonna, because we were gonna take some out of the sewer expense as well to do that, because it had the maps and that kind of thing.
And it's included in the sewer.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
Any other questions?
Yeah, when is the assessment going to happen for the sewer infrastructure? Is that coming up this fiscal year? Is it going to be happening after July? For the manholes, there's going to be an assessment.
Oh, that's happening this
That's,
year.
yeah,
That's
we're
happening
doing it
this
right
year?
now. It's
Oh, I was
ongoing.
I was just wondering because obviously the cartographic software is probably the software that's going to be taking that information and you'll be storing it in that.
That's the
software, so
plan.
there'll have to be a coordination.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, thank you.
So question, so the bulk of this 17% increase is electricity and EV chargers, which we really don't know about.
Right, so that's.
So this could be
that-
really
that-
good, or this could be really
Right,
bad.
that could change. That
Or
could-
it might change altogether if we
Right.
do the revolving fund, if we
Exactly.
might be coming back and revoting this budget.
But the EV charger electricity expense is offset by a revenue that we also didn't see before?
Well, we're hoping to offset it with the usage fees.
Right, yeah. That user fee revenue.
Correct.
That we haven't seen before.
All right.
Yeah, the other complicating thing about, as Brenda said, that we've got December and January, and we get revenue reports from, or bills from Eversource in the half month. When these were first put together, there was a period of time before they became live, but they were, Autel was asking for them to be tested. So like I plugged mine in for 15 minutes one day to see if the system was working, and it was zeroed out. And I think anybody who happened to come in after we opened the lot could plug in and get charged for like a period of 4 or 5 days. I don't think it was, and nobody really knew they were there. So now that they've discovered them,
Yeah, they loaded them on the maps, right? All your-
Yep.
So the revolving fund again would help us, it would help
Right.
us be able to identify the amount, the amount of revenue.
So what I'm sitting here thinking is that we have 18,684 that we add. Oh, I guess there's 1,200 off of that. So pretty much this entire increase
Is that,
is
yep.
that
exactly.
EV charger, because the 4,000 increase we see in electricity on the first line is offset by other decreases mostly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know, to set up a revolving fund, that would require a warrant article?
Yes.
That's right. Yes. And a bylaw change.
Mhm.
Does it need a bylaw change too?
Yeah, because it's now in the bylaw, so
Which is
the 53E and a halves are all in a bylaw. Remember they made that change a few years ago?
I remember doing them, but I just didn't remember them being available.
and what is the alternative to having them in a bylaw? Is there a way to get this stuff out of a bylaw so the accountant can do these things, or is this?
No, putting it into the bylaw was to help towns so they didn't have to revote it every year.
Well, we do revote.
But Tim,
You vote the amount to be spent, but I think that changes, did that law pass where we don't have to do that anymore?
that's correct.
That's what I
And
thought.
not only that, it doesn't handcuff the select board in setting the fees, the charging fees here.
Right.
It wouldn't do that.
Right.
I just meant having to go to town meeting to ask for a bank account to be set up, or essentially, it's a place to put money from a specific source. Seems like overkill in
Well,
some way.
It's not that, you would just be setting up a revolving fund. It's just a fund. The money still goes where the money goes. It's just a fund to keep
I
track.
guess we're saying the same thing. Setting up a fund and having to have a town meeting vote to do it seems like something the accountant should be able to do to manage the funds that come into the town.
Well, I can do that with almost every other fund, just not the 53E and a halves.
Because that's the law.
And is that an EV charger law?
So the 53E and a half law is set up for revenues that we receive for services and expenditures that are related to those revenues. It allows us to take it out of the general fund, basically.
Like the rec department.
Right.
Does it make your job easier to have a revolving fund? Why not just leave it like this?
I think it would be nice to have a revolving fund to keep track of it all in one place. It would be more manageable, but and it's blown up our operating budget a little bit here. And yes, we can reflect the revenues, but
I see, yeah, so a revolving fund, we would be getting essentially the net from that after the expense of electricity and the revenues from the chargers sort of cancel each other out, and whatever's left over would be the revenue, actually.
and it would make it clearer to see.
Yeah. And yeah, Tim, I suspect the reason for that law is for transparency, so that, I'm sure there are some towns where, like, maybe the town government doesn't like to reveal where all the money is going.
Does the net amount that's left over automatically go to the general fund? Or does it have to be voted? So we had the excess.
If there was excess revenues over expenditures, it would just remain in the 53E and a half account. I'm sure at some point, if that had built up to a point, we could vote some out. I don't know, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, when a solar field comes online, we have revenue from that, and it builds up over the years, could we then funnel that to an OPEB fund? You know what I mean? Like, we've got to find ways to get revenue to start offsetting our liabilities and costs, and so it would be great if the stuff built up in there and you could then funnel any excess to a retirement fund or whatever, some other liability, but I don't know.
So it wouldn't include solar.
What's that?
This wouldn't include
No, this
solar.
is-
This
I'm
is
just
strictly the,
Thinking when that solar field comes on, that's gonna generate some money, correct?
I
And
don't know.
that's the whole idea.
one would hope.
Christopher?
Yeah, you're talking about the landfill solar?
Yes, exactly.
Right, yeah, so there's a draft pilot agreement and we're just working on some updates to it. And yeah, it would generate, I think it was roughly $60,000 annually in pilot fees. So that's plus some kind of rental fee as well.
I'm adding.
Okay.
We
that
have
would
kind of
change
strayed far
change
afield.
That
Um,
would change our rental revenues then, our rent revenue.
So back to the town building maintenance, if we exclude the electricity for the EV chargers, it's gone up almost not at all. Is that reasonable?
Yes.
You're happy with that?
Done much here.
I mean, this is the energy costs for buildings. What's the electricity in the first line? Who gets that electricity? What is that?
That's electricity for town hall, the police station, the common. That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So this covers maintenance and utilities for
Each of those other
all
buildings,
of the
just to-
buildings except the highway garage, the actual Tilton Library.
Correct.
Anything else?
No,
That's
it's,
not-
it's worth remembering that this is maintenance costs for buildings which are either not entirely used or not used at all at the moment.
Right.
Presumably, when we bring them
No,
into
it
use,
includes
they
this
will get
building.
more expensive.
And it
I mean,
includes
the-
this building, the police station.
Right.
EMS building.
But what I mean
No,
is these,
EMS
That's it.
is
They got a separate.
on their separate line, but it's in that budget, yes.
but I mean, the
yeah.
itemized buildings down here, presumably when those buildings get remodeled and brought into use, those numbers will go up.
And hopefully someone else is paying for it.
Yeah.
Well, and electricity for the EMS building is covered by the EMS budget.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
this is
just
just,
strictly
this is just
maintenance.
repairs to the
This is
outside
just
of the
actual
building
maintenance,
or
okay.
original appliances in the building.
We really haven't done anything.
Not
You know,
much.
like Bathrooms are a mess here, we haven't paint. Like,
Oh,
there's
here,
just
yeah.
So much that needs to get done, we
It
haven't really
does?
done, but
Yeah.
each year we say we're gonna.
Yeah, and the
Well, you gotta-
miscellaneous repairs is set at 21,000.
Yeah.
Oh, we are running out of time.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Okay,
I move to call the
all right,
motion.
let's do it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous, 500.
I'll make a motion to approve the town building maintenance budget of 192,500 at 125,184.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none before Blake gets back. All those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
We wanna
Tim
go
Hilchi,
first.
aye.
Wanna go general, let's get this one done, right?
All right,
So
General
we'll,
highway
we'll go
expense?
next to tab 4. And general highway payroll, there's nothing to show you at this point because union contract still needs to be negotiated. So we'll go to the general highway expense, which is 422-5400 for $337,200.
Do we have a motion?
I move that we recommend the sum of 337,200 for general highway expense, account number 422-5400.
Second.
Sure, that's what I have then.
Discussion.
Yeah. All right, so the only real thing, line painting. We got a budget of 25,000. It's gotta go up to 28. It was 27,000. And actually, we, missed 2 roads.
Can I ask a question on that one,
Yeah,
Chris?
yeah.
Is there a rule that once a road is line striped, it must be line striped from forever after?
That's a new one on me.
Oh, I don't, I don't know the answer.
That
Oh, that's
could
just
be
one,
a
yeah.
possibility. I know that we're not supposed to line like Old Deerfield, because it's a historic
I
thing, so
see.
we don't
Okay.
line that, but every other street in town,
Has-
we pretty much line.
Maybe you have to like, literally like burn them off or something now, right? You can't just kind of paint over. you
Yeah,
gotta
they actually, they grind them
grind
down
it
now.
Yeah, grind the lines off.
Wait, what do you, I'm sorry, I don't want to get off topic, but
Yep.
what do you mean almost every other street you line? Because I'm thinking a whole bunch of streets I know don't have lines. Am I
The only streets I don't think have lines are Mill Village. Matthews, we haven't done that again because we just started and oiled it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Old
We're
Deerfield,
talking about lines down the middle of the road?
yep.
Like our street doesn't have lines.
I don't think so.
South Mill River?
No, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's all right. No, I don't want a line. I'm just, was curious by what you said.
Those roads like that are just a little too thin to.
Okay, so
to
that's
put
what I
lines
meant.
on.
Yeah.
So sort of yeah.
So line.
And some of the offshoots off of Sugarloaf probably aren't lines.
Right, your side streets.
Okay.
Roads
Just
that
the
are,
main road.
roads that are wide
Your
enough to
main
be
roads,
lined.
your,
Okay.
what I
Considered
would call
main
your
roads.
main roads.
That's what-
We're actually doing like 300,000 feet of line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and parking lots,
Yeah.
crosswalks, stop
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
No, it makes sense. Was struck by your comment.
The other one that went up,
Safety and compliance.
safety and compliance. We normally took that out of building maintenance. Safety and compliance, like all our trucks inspections, all our, fire extinguishers, things like that have to be changed every year and redone. That always came out of building maintenance. I'd like to put it into that safety and compliance.
So it went up in building maintenance too, though.
I was just gonna say that.
Well,
The cost has increased just
A lot.
exponentially, it
Okay.
seems,
It has.
for those services. At least that's what I've
no, definitely,
noticed.
definitely.
Okay.
And
Diesel
building
went down?
maintenance, I mean, I just had all the floors done, all the walls in the offices all repainted. That's how I feel the building maintenance budget should be spent versus
Yeah.
safety
Yeah.
and compliance.
I see what you mean.
It's patch materials for potholes,
Yes.
because it seems
that we're not
it's
doing-
really pretty bad out there. And I'm not, I don't mean that
I
as negative
understand.
against you. It's,
Yeah, it's
It's
a
the
battle.
weather.
so are we too low with the budget?
Excuse me?
Is the budget amount too low?
No, it's
Because
just-
things are worse than we
This time of
expected.
year, you can't get the right materials to patch it correctly. You're into what we call ironic coal patch.
Right.
And it just doesn't suffice. So, I mean, every week, we're out there.
Oh, no, I don't
It
mean
just-
nothing negative about,
Other things we put under that, not just potholes, there's other, even like a trench or something like that, I'll put on that patch, that type of thing.
But is that $8,000 enough in the budget? That's my concern. Of why I'm bringing it up.
Materials went up.
Yeah, world materials went up to 13,000.
Well, I'm looking at patch materials.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is just a question. So Sugarloaf is a state road, but do you, as a DPW, go out and patch potholes?
Actually, they've stepped up pretty good this year. We're good to like Eastern Ave, and then from Eastern Ave on, it's us.
Any other questions on this budget?
You need to speak into a mic.
I'm just as perplexed as Tim, if you don't mind answering this. So we're maintaining the road into the common and up from there, or is it the other direction?
We maintain from Eastern Ave to the Common. The
Okay.
state maintains from Eastern Ave to 116.
So if the state isn't maintaining it, why do they have a say in what we do with it?
They
on the
own it.
common?
They basically, the town has not accepted that road.
Are you saying that the state road stops at Eastern Avenue, or are you just saying that that's where the state road stopped when they new paved, they stopped there?
From I understand, that is where it stops, is at Eastern Ave. I can check into that. I'm not, unless you think it goes right through the center of town, I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. Well, I know they've never maintained anything beyond, since I've been here, Eastern Ave. Yeah.
Well, potholes are out in force right now.
I mean, we're lucky they actually paved it a couple of years ago, so.
Yeah, that seems weird. They should, if they own it, they should maintain it. Yeah. All right, any further discussion on this item? No.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
other
go
question. The newspapers showed that we're gonna get a nice increase in chapter 90 money.
Yes,
Does that matter
Well-
on this budget?
that's what the governor is hoping.
Okay.
You know, that's what she's put forth, but that doesn't mean it's gonna happen, right?
Right.
But that doesn't affect this budget one way or the other.
Not at all.
Not at all. It's strictly chapter 9 money.
And they haven't really set the funding for that extra 100 million either. We're hoping that it's road miles only. That would help rural areas, but
Right.
wait and see.
As of right now, we got, I believe, 100 and something with rural money. That's definite.
119,000 or
119.
something like that,
That's definite. But I also heard that there's possibly 300,000 that could be coming to us as well.
Boynton Road could get paved.
No.
Saying,
Yeah, the
All right,
the governor,
we're kind of low on time, so anything
Okay.
specific to this budget? No, any further questions? So it's been moved and seconded for general highway expense at 337,200. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Against? Abstaining? That passes 501. We have like 5 minutes if the planning board is kind to us. So how about we
Let's do this real
skip
quick.
to,
I'm just gonna vote
No,
real
but-
quick.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the general highway expense, 422-5400 at 337,200. Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor, Tim Hilch,
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilch, aye.
Thank you.
all right. So I feel like winter snow and ice and street lighting you could do with us. So if we
Let's
did
do that. We
transfer
could do that.
station,
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, you
okay.
want, okay, that's
kind
cool.
of to avoid making Chris come
No,
back. So
that's
I
fine.
think Brenda can do
I
those
mean,
two
it's
with
snow and
us.
ice in the street lighting is,
Yeah.
Straightforward, yeah.
Straightforward,
Let's do transfer
exactly.
station, because
Okay.
that one seems more complicated.
all right.
Do we have a motion? Where's 433, 5,400?
Oh, yes.
I move that we recommend the sum of $248,920 for transfer station expense, account number 433-5400.
Second.
Okay, so.
I think the biggest change is
It was, yeah.
we've been over budgeting for, bags
Right.
for years, I think, right?
Yeah, and I just
And
got,
you realized it.
yeah, I just landed another bag company that was getting us half the price on bags also, so. Yeah, that can definitely go down to 17, maybe, or 15, but,
And we'll leave it at
Okay,
17.5. That's
okay.
safe, right?
um,
And then you've added,
We added-
internet service and computer and printer and, yeah.
we're trying to do a little something different at the transfer station. We're hoping to possibly put a Comcast line up there, starting to do the slide cards as far as and get away from checks and that kind of thing. It's gonna make it a lot easier for us to manage as far as where it's going and just make it much easier.
It's not easy for Sarah though, and I don't know whether she's going to.
Not on board yet, but we'll.
No, and I mean, she has a lot to keep track of in that account already, so,
Yep.
you two need to have, heavier discussions, yeah.
I know it's not in this budget, but I know that the, and I don't know if we own the compactors or not, but there's some maintenance, I think, probably
Yeah.
we need to do once, and that might
We-
be in
we
a
do-
capital thing at some
We do
point.
own the compact.
We own the
do.
compactors,
Yeah.
and actually we,
Like the compressed, even the cardboard ones are just hard to, like,
yeah, no, they're
fail with
actually gonna be maintained, within the next couple of weeks.
oh, nice,
Yeah.
great.
All the oil's gonna be changed and everything.
From what I've been, some of the people saying is time to start replacing some of those. Some of the machinery itself.
Parts, possibly parts.
And then there's a few other, I don't know how much we have in maintenance for this budget, but there is some like concrete pointing and like making sure the railings are done and, some stuff around there probably needs to be upgraded a bit. It gets used heavily and it's used in the miserable times of the year and, just for safety for people and stuff, the ramps and I don't know how much maintenance is in there, but we definitely need new signage. There's some work to be done.
How are we doing on dump sticker revenue, given that there are additional haulers in town now, private haulers? So how are we doing on the dump sticker revenue? Has that decreased or? Stayed the same?
I don't think it's decreased.
No.
I mean,
Okay,
No.
We-
We're right up around 1,200 permits.
Oh,
okay.
and, okay, for the year.
Yep.
Yeah, because they sell most of theirs in May and June, right?
Right.
So for this fiscal year, it shows that we've collected, very,
Yeah.
very little, but that's because we'll see most of it at the end of the fiscal year. But
Right.
you're keeping track of the numbers, so.
Yeah. We're starting to really get on top of that,
yeah.
just to see what's coming in with stickers. You gotta figure out between the $70 sticker and the $10 sticker.
Yeah.
So our revenues overall for the transfer station don't quite cover the budget.
Not quite yet. We're just a little short.
Close.
There is some discussion between Deerfield and Sunderland as well. They're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. It's very early and we may not even go that route, but if we did, we'd need a major kind of redesign and then staff and maintenance that they would need to pay for.
Yeah, we've been in discussions for the last about a month
Yeah.
between. If it doesn't help Deerfield, then I'm gonna say that
Right.
we should.
Yeah.
Town own extra land around the, treatment plant? For a new,
Transfer station?
no, around the treatment plant, if you're gonna do something for both towns.
No, we're talking the,
Transfer
the
station.
transfer station.
No, I know you are.
Oh, you said treatment plant.
Right.
Near Sunderland. Like,
Oh.
I was just
No, we
saying,
do not.
No,
there isn't town land all around there.
No.
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
You'd be in Waverly.
I'm just saying, I don't know why we want all of Sunderland driving all the way through town,
Right.
dump their
I
trash.
don't know
then
that
drop
they'd
back.
want to do that
No, they
either.
probably don't either.
No,
I
yeah.
think it might be.
I mean, we
yeah.
could throw some good tariffs on them. or something.
Put some tariffs on them.
All right, so we're kind of straying far afield. Any further discussion relating to this budget? No, okay, it's been moved and seconded for the transfer station expense at 248,920. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, 600. Select Board, do you want to do it?
Make a motion to approve the transfer station expense, at, $248,920.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Tim Melchi, aye.
So we're gonna have to adjourn because the planning board needs our space. Is there anything else, Chris, that you feel like you need to discuss with us? Do you need to come back at some point?
I think the only thing we have is the well monitoring and the street line. Right?
And
Yeah.
Snow and ice.
And
Snow
snow
and
and
ice,
ice,
that's
and I think Brenda
pretty
can
much-
do those with us.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah. I mean,
beautiful.
not, I can back in.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Very quickly, next week, we do not have a finance committee meeting. We have the school committee meetings are next week. We've got Frontier on Tuesday and Deerfield on Wednesday. We divvied those up, right?
I'll go to the Frontier one. I think, were you going to go to the elementary?
It's on Wednesday, yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, I could probably hit one or two of those too. Do we have times on those? 6 o'clock?
6 PM. They're both at 6
Both at
PM.
6, and both in their respectives.
Yes. Okay. And then Wednesday is also the Franklin Tech budget public hearing that can be attended remotely. I will get an email to try and get a link to that, so I'll forward it to it in case anybody can attend that. That would be great. Otherwise, our next meeting is Tuesday, February 18th at 5:30 PM because Monday's a holiday. Great. All right. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Motion to
Thank you
adjourn
all.
the select board.
Second. All those in favor?
McDaniel, aye.
Tim Melchi, aye.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Christopher. See you later.